Hey everyone, and welcome to the official safety and protocol explainer for the Schwarzer V7 West Virginia Getaway. We've got an absolutely unbelievable long weekend ahead of us in the state they call almost heaven. But, before we go out there and hit those sweeping Appalachian curves in our Porsches, we really need to talk logistics. This explainer is designed to make sure that we all have a spectacular time without risking a life, a license, or the integrity of our group. So we're going to cover the absolutely crucial rules of the road that every single driver and passenger needs to know.
Look, before we dive into all the specific protocols, let's just establish the golden rule for this entire event, okay? Have fun, and remember, it's a rally, not a race. You really need to drive your own pace, stay within your limits, and just keep in mind that we're out here to enjoy those majestic rolling hills and tree-lined tunnels, not to, win a trophy. Spirited driving is fantastic. We all love it, but we are absolutely not out here to race.
All right, so here is a quick look at our agenda for today's explainer. We'll cover the spirit of the rally, the mayo and the mustard, mandatory radio protocols, minding the gap, and finally, pace, passing, and safety.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the spirit of the rally, and what it means to be driving together in almost heaven. So, we're going to be covering over 1,000 miles of exceptional driving out there, and pulling that off successfully requires a totally shared mindset. The ultimate goal on these West Virginia backroads is this right here, a unified, staggered formation. We want a beautiful line of Porsches carving through the country roads, acting as a respectful, cohesive group. This is literally the definition of sticking together and leaving no one behind. You are part of a massive team this weekend, and moving smoothly as one unit is really what makes this whole experience so special. Moving right along to Section 2, the mayo and the mustard. This is the non-negotiable rule of the road. All right, this next part, deadly serious. It is the absolute non-negotiable rule of the road for our entire trip. The mayo and the mustard is kind of a fun name for a concept that is literally a matter of life and death. You absolutely must keep your car between the mayo and the mustard. And what does that mean? It means the white line on the shoulder and the yellow line in the center. Staying between them means absolutely no crossing the double yellow center line under any circumstances whatsoever. And look, I don't care how much track experience you have, how perfectly your car is dialed in, or how good you think your visibility is through a particular corner. Just don't do it. So, let's talk about the why here. Why are we so incredibly strict about this? Well, West Virginia's twisties are famous, right? And motorcyclists take these blind corners fast. They are actively leaning their bodies and their heads right over that double yellow line. If you cross it, you risk causing a catastrophic, fatal collision. And beyond the physical danger, if you do cross it, local photographers will capture it, post it online, and social media will drag you. If you break this rule, you just don't belong in this group, and you will be removed immediately. Let's just take a breath for a second. Picture the breathtaking, serene wilderness we're visiting. To safely navigate this high-elevation environment without ruining that awesome vibe, we really need to understand how our group breathes, communicates, and moves together almost like one living organism. Which brings us to Section 3, mandatory radio protocols. These are the lifeline of the group. To move together safely, real-time communication is absolutely vital. Cell service up in the Allegheny Mountains can be practically non-existent, which makes radios your primary lifeline. They are required for every single car, period. Whether you've got a Baofeng, a Midland, or a Radioddity, everyone needs to be tuned exactly to frequency 462.6625. For some of your radios, that's going to be channel 5.0. This is literally the only way you'll be able to hear your group leader calling out upcoming turns, road debris, or oncoming hazards. Now, the biggest tech headache we run into out there is the stuck mic. If someone accidentally sits on their radio or maybe a bag leans against the talk button, it completely blocks the channel for the whole group. Nobody can speak. So if your leader realizes the channel is jammed, they're going to turn on their hazard lights. When you see those blinkers flashing ahead of you, immediately check your own radio to make sure you aren't the one broadcasting, and then turn your own hazards on to pass that visual signal backward to the cars behind you. It creates this rapid visual chain reaction right down the line. It's super effective.
Look, communication is a full team effort. Our leaders are using both hands and feet to drive, so they might occasionally miss things. We rely heavily on the drivers right in the middle of the pack to repeat important calls so the cars way in the back can actually hear them clearly. We also highly encourage passengers to act as co-pilots, run Waze to spot and mark law enforcement or road construction, and help out on the radio.
Keep the channel fun, for sure, but remember to keep the idle chatter reasonable so the airwaves are open when a real hazard suddenly pops up.
All right, Section 4, minding the gap and keeping the pack together.
Minding the gap is honestly an art form in group driving, and knowing what to do if you feel yourself falling behind the pace is a critical skill for this weekend. If you can't keep up, and hey, whether that's due to weather, your car acting up, or just your personal comfort level, use the pull-offs. Seriously, there is zero shame in letting the group pass. Actually, we deeply respect drivers who have the self-awareness to pull off rather than staying in line and creating these massive stretching gaps that let random slow vehicles cut in and fracture our pack. So our group spacing actually shifts dynamically depending on exactly where we are. When we're commuting on multi-lane highways or waiting at traffic lights, we want to bunch up nice and tight. Stack up in both lanes if you can so we get through lights faster and keep regular traffic from splitting us up. But the second we hit the technical B roads and those twisties, spread out. You need to leave a few car lengths to ensure you've got ample reaction time for blind corners, sudden stops, or, a deer deciding to jump right into your lane. By managing the gap correctly, adapting your spacing to the type of road we're on, and just putting ego aside, we make sure every single driver navigates these stunning roads smoothly, safely, and without any unnecessary anxiety.
Finally, Section 5, pace, passing, and safety. How we manage high-anxiety scenarios.
Passing and pacing are definitely the trickiest parts of group dynamics. These are the moments where discipline really matters. Passing in a large convoy is strictly controlled. You only pass when the leader explicitly says it is safe over the radio. Don't pass just because the dotted road lines make it quote-unquote legal. Group driving has its own set of rules. Also, when we stop at those tight scenic overlooks for quick photos, don't try to rearrange your position. It just causes a ton of chaos when we need to roll out quickly. And crucially, if someone does make a mistake and breaks a rule, your job is to let them merge back in safely. Don't try to play traffic cop and block them. Just let your leader handle it privately later on. Let's quickly demystify 3 common scenarios that tend to make drivers anxious and do silly things. Scenario 1. We get stuck behind a slow driver, usually a motorcycle cruiser. Just be patient. Do not stop your car dead on the road to create a massive gap so you can slingshot for a fast run. It backs everyone out and it causes rear-end collisions. Scenario 2. Open 4-lane highways. Match the leader's exact speed. These open stretches are exactly where local police love to sit with radar. Scenario 3. Left turns. After following the same bumper for 50 miles, drivers kind of get hypnotized and blindly follow the car ahead through stop signs without even looking. Always snap out of it and check left and right. Don't panic speed to catch up. The leader's going to wait for you. Now, off the road, efficiency is just as important. Fuel up the night before to avoid those chaotic morning delays, okay? If we do have to do a mid-run fuel stop, pump your gas fast and immediately move your car away from the pump to a staging area so the next Porsche can get right in. And whether we're at the snowshoe resort, grabbing lunch in Somersville, or pulling off at Cranberry Mountain, we always park together as a unified group. I want to end on a really firm note here. Safety is our absolute highest priority. Our group leaders have thousands of miles of experience under their belts, and their instructions are final. If you engage in reckless behavior, if you cross that double yellow, or if you repeatedly break these protocols, you will be removed from your driving group immediately, and you could be ejected from the entire Schwarzer event. But look, as long as we all use our heads, it's going to be the weekend of a lifetime. Download those offline maps, double-check your tire pressures, and really commit these rules to memory. Because ultimately, the question isn't just whether you can keep up with the pack, it's whether you have the discipline to protect it. So are you ready to leave no one behind? We'll see you on the mountain.